Hello, welcome to Angela's Busy Bees Garden and Homestead. And guys, I just want to share with you today that I've started some veggies from seed, and I will be using these veggies in my winter garden that I plan to place inside of my newly built greenhouse, where I will be able to grow food basically all year round. And so, what I have sown seeds for so far is spinach, curly kale, and Swiss chard. And as you can see here, I'm using these little cups that I've recycled. These cups were purchased from the Dollar Tree. I think you get about 10 or 12 in a packet. And some of them I have different things written on them because, as I've stated, I'm recycling. But all of these over here are my curly kale. In this tray, I have my spinach. I have some more curly kale here. And over on this tray, I have my Swiss chard. And they have been coming up very slowly. I think the spinach and the curly kale came up really fast. But what I have done here is I have placed them inside of these clear trays, as you can see here. And these trays were being thrown away at Lowe's. And of course, I'm always in the garden center looking around at what I could use here on the homestead. And I noticed that these were being thrown away. So I think there were about 10 or 12 of them. And so I took every last one of them because whenever I'm sowing seeds or starting my transplants indoors, I can always use these trays, and once they've developed their true leaves, then that way I can begin watering from the bottom to encourage more root growth, and also to avoid damage from pest or disease by watering from the top. But initially, what I normally do is I use my spray bottles and I water. But with these trays now, I can basically water from the bottom and feed them as well. And so because a lot of them now have their true leaves, I want to feed them. And what I will be using is this Super Thrive. And it's always found in the garden center near all of the seed starting mix and the little peat pellets and things that they sell. And this is a 4-1-1 solution, and it's basically a fish fertilizer. And if you're familiar with the 5-1-1, well, this is basically the same thing, but it's designed for when you're seed starting or for young transplants. And so now I can basically take my water pail that I have right here and simply water inside of the tray. And as you can see, it's a little brown. I don't want to put too much water, just enough for them to soak it up. Go on to the second tray and do the same thing. Same to the third tray. And as you can see, the water is a little brown. That's typically the color of that fish fertilizer. And do the same thing here. And I may have to go back and give some of them a little bit more. But what you see here also is I am using these shop lights, and I have 2 of them, and I have them very close to the plant, as close as I can get. And as you see here, I'm using a pint-size paint container. So this is the lowest I've been able to get my light to my transplants. And I don't put the light under when I first sow seeds. I wait until I see growth and they come up. Then I will place them up under the light. But as you can see here, there are a lot of veggies that are now touching the light. And one good thing about the shop lights is that if the plant grows and touch the light, it doesn't burn them at all. But if you're using the grow lights, they will burn. So what I'm going to do now that they've started touching the light is I'm going to increase the size up a little bit. So I'm probably going to use gallon-sized paint containers now to lift it up a little higher so that the plants can continue to grow. Now I'm using paint cans because over the years I have collected a lot of Oops paint from Lowe's, and so I have a lot of that on hand. In your case, if you have paint cans, you can use them. You can use books, you can use bricks, whatever you have on hand to help you to elevate your light just above your plant. And you typically want your light to be 1 to 2 inches above your plant. So as it continues to grow, you continue to elevate your shop lights. But just to give you a look at how everything's growing, you can see here I started these about 3 weeks ago, and they've come up really nicely. I first sowed the seeds inside of some little to-go containers, that has the clear top, and just threw in a bunch of seeds. And then as they grew, I transferred them into these little pots, and then I still used a seed starting mix because I wanted a very loose soil for the young transplants that I was putting into the pots. Now it doesn't look like the Swiss chard did as good as the spinach and the kale, but they're coming along. I may sow some additional Swiss chard to see if I can get a little bit more of that. But this is my first set of seedlings to add to my winter garden that I'm hoping to transfer to my new greenhouse. And then if I have enough, I'll add that also to the other garden out in my garden area as well. But you can never have too many leafy green vegetables. They're good for you all year round, especially the spinach and the kale. I can eat those just about every day in different ways, in omelets, stir fries, just what have you, especially also the Swiss chard. I like using it in a lot of Italian dishes or when I make, Alfredo or whatever type of pasta. But I'm not going to make this any longer. Just wanted to share with you guys what's been going on and what I have growing here inside the house, but will soon be transferring to the greenhouse. Thank you so much, guys. God bless. Bye-bye.